Cervical screening programme is a screening programme for people aged 25 to 64 that is designed to help prevent cancer, and it does that by picking up early changes that could, if left untreated, go on and progress to become cancer. I approached Healthwatch last year to think about trying to involve them and the Art College in a campaign to help promote cervical screening locally.
We talked about what groups might be the target audience and what the issues were, and that is that not enough women were coming forward to have their screening tests, in particular LGBTQ groups, BAME communities and women aged 25 to 35. We set about creating a live brief for the students at the Hereford College of Arts.
I'm one of the tutors on the foundation course at Hereford College of Arts, and this brief was a great opportunity for our students to work with a real client and to tackle an area that maybe they weren't comfortable with, to learn to ask the right questions and really look at the information that was important to get across. So we have about 100 students on the course, and we had about 30 that opted to do this brief. Great age range, great range of experiences. We had some nurses in there, some retired nurses, all the way through to people who just left A-levels. So it was the sort of subject which was really lovely to be able to discuss openly across the table and get a range of opinions and experiences. And there was a lot of learning that took place for the students.
There's always so much background work that goes into this, and it was so interesting to work on a live brief because all the students took the information on board so seriously and were quite shocked by some of the information as well, I think, and wanted to do something about it.
We were available to give feedback on designs as they were being developed, and logos and colour palettes and things like that. The students were really fun to work with, and we're really grateful for everybody who took part and all the creative ideas that they provided. There were some really strong entries. For us, there were two that stood out most, and that was Charlotte and Debbie.
So I decided to choose this campaign as I found it was a topic that was quite close to home, and I also saw a benefit of educating myself for the future, as it's something I will have to experience as well.
So the cervical screening one, it really caught my attention because it was something I could personally relate to. A number of years back, I had some abnormal cells on my cervix, and through cervical screening they were picked up and monitored for a number of years, and eventually I had those cells removed, and it was just such an amazing, simple screening, and I was really taken when I heard the research. I was really shocked to hear that people weren't having screens. I think I had this automatic assumption that people just would, why wouldn't you? So I found it really particularly interesting why there were certain groups of women who were less likely to take up cervical screening, and straight away I just wanted to know more about that.
I also took a personal approach as well, so I researched into the personal experiences that women had through either YouTube videos or blogs. And recently I've noticed a lot of influencers on social media have also been encouraging and empowering younger women to come forward and how important it is to have screenings done.
There were a number of different resources and sources that I looked at. There was Joe's Cervical Cancer Trust, which had a lot of really interesting information on there. I looked at different BBC articles, I looked at NHS websites, and then I looked at more specifically at things like LGBT sites. The bit that stood out to me was that some women were not only embarrassed by their vulvas, they didn't know whether they looked normal, whether they smelt normal. Actually, some people would miss a cervical screening if they hadn't shaved or waxed through embarrassment. And what really stood out to me was that it would be important, if that's what people are embarrassed about, why not show them? This is how different and diverse vulvas can look.
And Charlotte's an enterprising student who's pushed some of the boundaries in that she's not working specifically with 2D materials, very interested in making things and designing things that then can actually be fabricated, and took that through into this project, not losing sight of the message and the meaning.
They both had elements of embroidery in their designs, and they really thought about the target groups that we were aiming for, with for example, rainbow designs, also the strap lines and the wording, and we thought to come up with something with elements of both designs. So we asked Charlotte and Debbie to work together on the final campaign.
Theoretically, it was a really lovely idea to work together, but practically I think it's been really challenging and a great learning curve. And we were relying on computers and the screen.
They did brilliantly despite the challenges of working over Zoom and not being able to go into college. So they did a brilliant job and came up with a stunning campaign, which the GP and Healthwatch helped them to finesse down to the final poster campaign.
It isn't a clinical looking poster, and again this was reflected back to us through some of the students about previous NHS campaigns that have felt quite sterile and clinical in their approach, and so we particularly like the embroidery aspect on the winning designs. All the young people that entered the competition had done some fantastic work, and we were so impressed with the quality of the artwork that was produced and the level of understanding and research that they had done into the cervical screening campaign, which we really hope will further their own knowledge, and they will pass on to others to try and promote this important campaign, especially at the moment when we need to do all we can to try and promote the uptake of cervical screening locally.